What's the difference between gases, vapors, particulates, and fumes? That's the central question today. We have to test for these in our facilities to protect our employees, but what's the difference in them? Because I'm watching the news at night sometimes, and I even hear the news commentator use the wrong terminology. Well, fumes, for instance, normally and only come from burning objects. If you're using a cutting torch, then whatever you're cutting with that cutting torch is giving off those fumes. And why that's important is if you're cutting a piece of angle iron, it may be coated in cosmoline or primer. Thus, when you're cutting it with a cutting torch, you're breathing those fumes. And then we've got vapors. Vapors always come from liquids. And so what makes that important is all liquids have an evaporation rate. And normally, maybe not always, but normally, the higher the evaporation rate or the faster that a liquid evaporates, the more flammable it is. Thus, it's putting vapors in the air. And also, you might look at it as another word. It's not the prefix or the suffix. It's the center part of the word evaporate, the vapor right in the middle there. So, vapors come from liquids. And then we have gases. You may remember in high school that dreaded semester that you had of chemistry. And you had the periodic table. And on that periodic table, these are elements. The periodic table were elements of the earth. And on that periodic table, you had nitrogen and argon and oxygen and hydrogen and things of this nature. These are natural gases. And yes, they can be dangerous also in an environment. We use argon, obviously, in manufacturing. But then there are those other gases that are man-made, where we have chemicals that come together and maybe make chemical reactivity and give off a gas. And if we breathe them, it could be harmful to us. So that's what gases are. And then finally, we have particulates, something else that gets in the air. Particulates can be dust, they can be sand, they can be particles of glass, they can be particles of metal, something that's that you can normally see, and you might have to wear a respirator to protect yourself from particulates, a HEPA type respirator or a dust mask. As a matter of fact, now that I'm thinking about it, you may have to wear a respirator for any of those airborne contaminants that I just mentioned a moment ago, and or increase ventilation in those areas.